It started like any other Friday lunch. ESI Nyarko, dressed in sharp Accra pants and sunglasses, sat at her favorite spot in OSU. The restaurant looked like something out of a lifestyle blog. Polished floors, golden lighting, plants in every corner. She had just finished a steaming bowl of wache, extra shito, boiled egg, fried plantain. But then, a sudden tightness gripped her stomach. She rushed up, clutching her bag and waist, and asked the waiter in a whisper, "Please, where's your restroom?" He pointed down the narrow hallway. ESI pushed the door, locked. Someone else was inside. She tapped her foot, glanced left, and saw a swinging door labeled staff only. Curiosity and desperation pushed her forward. She peeked in. Everything stopped. Her eyes widened. Dishes piled sky high, raw meat sweating in the open, flies buzzing lazily. A rat darted past a rusty pot. The kitchen was disgusting. SI staggered back, hand over her mouth. Her classy restaurant, her daily choice, was a lie. She felt sick. Her stomach wasn't just reacting to the food, it was reacting to the truth. From the front, the place looked like a dream: leather seats, soft jazz, shiny cutlery. Even the menu was printed in gold. But ESI had seen behind the curtain. She stood frozen, peeking through that swinging kitchen door. The smell hit her first: sour heat, burnt oil, raw blood. Her stomach turned. A woman in a stained white apron stirred a pot of contemire stew. She had thick armpit hair spilling from her sleeveless dress, and right before ESI's eyes, she scratched her underarm with the same spoon she was using. Then she dipped it back into the bubbling stew, as if nothing happened. ESI choked back vomit. Her mind raced through all the times she'd eaten here. Red jollof goat soup, thinking it was the cleanest place in town. Now the polished floors meant nothing. The ambience was a mask. She backed away, hand on her stomach, the taste of shame mixing with pepper and regret. SI didn't become like this overnight. She grew up in Nima, in a compound house where the smell of fried yam and kelaweel filled the evening air. Her mother, Madam Abina Nyarko, left home by 4 a.m. daily for Makola Market. Her father, an STC driver, was always on the road. There was no time for morning tea or evening meals. Just money left on the table and a shout from the gate. ESI, take care of your sisters. So ESI learned to feed herself the easiest way, from the streets. Rice in black polythene bags, beans and gari from roadside pans, chinchinga by torchlight. No one taught her to cook. She grew up knowing how to order, not how to stir, how to wait in line, not how to wash rice. By age 10, she could name every wache seller on their street, but didn't know how to boil an egg. It wasn't laziness, it was survival. And now, years later, that survival habit was poisoning her, literally. After university, ESI was posted to a quiet village in the Volta region for her national service. The air was clean, life was slow, and for once, ESI felt still. She shared a flat in East Legon with another teacher, Afia Serwa, calm, polite, always humming old gospel songs in Chui. Her corner of the room was spotless, her shelf stacked with pepper, tinned tomatoes, and little labeled containers. Every evening, Afia cooked contemire, groundnut soup, banku. The smell would fill the apartment. ESI, in contrast, returned with paper boxes of fried rice or wache. Oil stained her receipts. Afia would look up and smile gently. "You've eaten already?" ESI would nod. Yes, too tired to cook. But in truth, she never tried. This was the beginning of something deeper. A friendship, a contrast, and a quiet test of habits that had followed ESI since childhood. And soon, the differences would become too loud to ignore. One quiet evening, Afia stirred her okra stew as the rain tapped lightly on their windows. ESI walked in with a plastic bag. Again, jollof rice, packed hot, smelling of spices and smoke. Afia looked at her, then smiled softly. ESI, why don't you cook small? Even simple rice and stew. It's cheaper, safer too. ESI scoffed. Afia, please, I don't have your kind of time. Besides, I've been eating out all my life. I'm not dead. Afia turned back to her pot without a word. The silence was soft, not angry, just tired. That night, ESI sat in bed scrolling through her phone, belly full but strangely uneasy. The lights flickered. She could hear Afia in the kitchen cleaning her pots, humming. 2 women, same house, same job, different ways of living. And one of them was slowly heading toward a painful wake-up call. One Thursday after school, ESI and Afia were walking through town when a sleek black car pulled over beside them. Out stepped a tall, dark man in a crisp native shirt and clean leather sandals. "Good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. I couldn't help but notice you." He was looking at ESI. They laughed, exchanged numbers, and by evening, he had already texted, "You free this weekend?" His name was Kwabena Mensah, a young entrepreneur who ran a chain of tech hubs in Accra and Takoradi. He was gentle, polite, and loved to eat Ghanaian food in upscale places. He took ESI to rooftop restaurants in airport, brunch spots in cantonments, seafood grills in OSU. Every date was a table set with candles and wine. ESI was floating. Finally, a man who saw her beauty, her class, her vibe. But while she was falling deeper into his arms, she never asked one question. What kind of woman was he really looking for? One Saturday, Kwabena surprised ESI with a visit. He brought juice, fruit, and a bright smile. They sat, laughed, and caught up. Then his tone changed. "You know, I've taken you out so many times. Today, I want to taste your cooking. Banku and okra, maybe?" ESI paused. Her heart skipped. She smiled faintly, trying to dodge. "Let's just order something. There's this new place in OSU, very clean." But Kwabena shook his head. "Not today. I want home food. Made by you." ESI looked down. Her confidence crumbled. I don't know how to cook." "Kwabena." There was silence. Kwabena's eyes searched hers, not in anger, but surprise. Then gently he stood up. "I'll call you later," he said. He left quietly. No hug, no goodbye kiss, just footsteps fading into the corridor. SI sat alone, surrounded by silence, and the untouched pots in her empty kitchen. A week later, a new restaurant opened along ESI's route home. Neon signs, glass doors, posh decor, people queued outside. It looked clean, safe, perfect. She stepped in one afternoon and ordered red with fried plantain. Tasted amazing, spicy, sweet, filling. From that day, she became a regular. Monday, wache. Tuesday, fried rice. Wednesday, jollof with goat meat. The prices were low, the packaging fancy, and her cravings satisfied. Even when she was tired, a simple phone call brought it hot to her door. Afia just watched, quiet as always. But then, one Thursday afternoon, as ESI scooped a final spoonful of beans from her red container, she froze. Her eyes caught something dark, small, crunchy, cockroach, dead, curled, floating in the oil. SI stared at it, breath caught in her throat. She dropped the spoon. Her stomach flipped. But instead of rage, she whispered, maybe it was just a mistake, and she threw the rest away. 3 days later, ESI collapsed at school. Her vision blurred. Her stomach churned like boiling water. They rushed her to Coral Boo Hospital. She drifted in and out of sleep, tubes in her arm, the beep of a monitor, her lips dry. A doctor stood by her bed, flipping through a chart. You've ingested bacteria, likely from very contaminated food. You're lucky. If you'd waited a few more hours. SI's eyes filled with tears. Afia sat quietly by her side, holding her hand. She had come straight from school, a warm flask in her lap. She fed ESI soft rice with palm oil and boiled egg. I didn't say anything to mock you. I just wanted you well. ESI nodded weakly. For the first time in years, someone cooked for her with care. Not just flavor, not style, but heart. And for the first time, she realized what she had truly been starving for. ESI promised herself she'd change. She even watched a YouTube video on how to boil yam. But 2 weeks later, as the midday sun blazed and her stomach growled, she picked up her phone and called the same restaurant. The food came hot. The smell was tempting. She ate it. That night, the cramps returned. Sharp, relentless. She clutched her belly on the floor, biting her lip to keep from screaming. Afia found her sweating, pale. "No more," Afia whispered, holding her. "No more, ESI." But ESI just cried. She recovered. Again. Yet, barely 3 weeks passed before it happened a third time, worse, deeper, more frightening. She was in the hospital again. 3 strikes. This time, she didn't argue, didn't defend, didn't say it was just bad luck. Instead, she kept quiet and began to ask the one question she'd never asked before. What was really going on behind those kitchen doors? ESI needed answers. One Saturday, she wore plain clothes and tied her hair back. She walked into the OSU restaurant and ordered her usual jollof with grilled tilapia. She smiled, ate slowly, pretended everything was fine. Then she stood up and told the waiter, "Please, where's the restroom?" He pointed. She walked there, but kept going. She found the swinging door, waited until no one was watching, and pushed it open. What she saw stole the air from her lungs. Flies hovered over uncovered meat. Buckets of water sat still and dirty. A rat slipped behind a sack of rice. One cook stirred soup with a massive spoon, then scratched her armpit and continued stirring. Her apron was brown, her nails long, her sweat dripping. ESI stepped back, her hands trembling. This was the cleanest restaurant she trusted. If this was what lay behind glass windows and smiling waiters, what about the others? She turned and ran, not just from the kitchen, but from the lie. That night, ESI stood in her kitchen, silent, clean, bare. She rolled up her sleeves, washed her hands, and placed a pot on the fire. The flame danced, the oil sizzled. She chopped onions slowly, blinking through tears and smoke. She was cooking, for the first time. Afia walked in and froze. "ESI?" ESI smiled without turning. "Help me stir, please." Together, they made jollof. It wasn't perfect, too much pepper, slightly burnt, but it was hers. It was clean. It was safe. It was real. ESI kept going. She bought pots, spices, even a small apron. She watched tutorials, asked Afia questions. She started packing lunch to school. Simple meals, made with love. One evening, Kwabena returned. He apologized, sat at her small table, and when she placed down a bowl of kenki, fried fish, and shito, he smiled wide and said, "Now this tastes like a woman who knows her worth."